So I'll kick off with the silkiest footballer ever to play football. Any guesses who I'm going to say? Just silky smooth.
Mark Chapman.
Not, no. Andrea Pirlo, the silkiest football player ever to play the game. His
Okay.
his passing and his vision is the best of any footballer probably ever. He just made everything look cool when he did it. It was effortless. He could ping a pass like 40 yards and make it look like he'd like flicked. Unbelievable player. Silky smooth. That's all I've got to say, really. I just think growing up, especially watching Italy play, you'd just they'd give him the ball and he wherever anyone was, he'd find them, and he did it so effortlessly. I just don't think I've ever seen him sprint. I just think he's so smooth, and his understanding and reading of the game was so good. He just did. He never really needed to. He never really needed to. I mean, he wasn't that quick anyway, but he's never needed to be because he was just so unbelievable at just moving and controlling tempo of games. It's unbelievable. So yeah,
Would
that's my
you say that
first one.
he's the best passer of a ball?
No.
I agree. Yeah.
Okay, silky smooth, but not the best passer of a ball.
Yeah, my second one is the best passer of the ball, actually, which is convenient that you asked that question. My second one, Andres Iniesta, who I think one of, if not the best central midfielder ever to play the game. Unbelievable. I think part of that era of Barcelona where, when Guardiola came in, then Enrique came in and won the treble. I just think that midfield three of Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets was the best midfield ever to play football. I do. I think prime Iniesta was just unplayable. I mean, granted, he had Busquets behind him, so defensively he didn't need to do that much work. But the passes, like the way he passed the ball, moved the ball, dictated the tempo of game, I think he's unbelievable. I just think everything about him is just perfect. I think he scored the winning goal in the World Cup final. I think that for me, growing up, that era of Spanish team as well, really, I think I mean, we're all English and we're England fans. I think international football, I never really used to love. I used to like watching international football. I used to like watching, England, all that. But we were never that good. It was never that exciting. We never used to play great football. And then the Spanish team came along, probably about 2007. And then they won the Euros in 2008, World Cup 2010, 2012 Euros. We were the best international team I've ever seen play football. The way they played was just unbelievable. Tiki-taka, quick movement, possession. They used to boss teams. They didn't score that many goals, but they were just unbelievable. And I think that Iniesta is the reason why I love international football, I think, because growing up, I think our age group especially was starved of that England success. We had a really good team on paper, but we never really got to see great football. We never got to see England kick on. But I think that Spanish team made me fall in love with the World Cup. I really do. I think that's when my love affair of tiki-taka and that easy watching style of football, easy watching style of football came. I just think they were great to watch. And I think Iniesta was just unbelievable in his prime, genuinely unbelievable. I mean, yeah, like I say, he had a good midfield and good players around him, but I think the way he used to control games and, if he scored the winning goal, but his passing, I just think he was just so great to watch. And he was just unbelievable. And I love watching him. I still do. Well, I mean, he's not easy to watch now. He's in the Japanese league, but I mean, and he was so good when he was playing at Barcelona when he was like 33 or whatever. He was just unbelievable. And yeah, and I think there were games when you'd watch him and he'd just single-handedly win it. I mean, they had match winners everywhere, but it'd be him. And yeah, privileged to watch him. Unbelievable.
Would you say that he was the best of the three midfielders for Barcelona?
I think he was the best attacker, like going forward, playing players in. I think Xavi was probably the best box-to-box midfielder. I think Busquets it's that age-old thing with football, and people saying if you don't think Busquets is one of the best midfielders, then you don't understand football. Maybe not now because he's lost his pace a bit. But prime Busquets was great at breaking up the play and winning the ball back. He was great at interception. His reading of the game was always phenomenal. I think Xavi was really good at taking the ball off the back line. And I think players like Xavi and even like modern day like players like Pogba are really good at taking the defense and turning it into attack. They're good at taking the ball off the back line and pushing it up the field. And I think Iniesta was really good at taking the ball and spraying it out to the sides where they had Pedro and players like that running in behind. And I think, yeah, Iniesta was the best. I just think, I don't think he's the best midfielder of all time. I'll say that. But I think passing-wise, he was just unbelievable. I think he was better than Scholes passing-wise. I know Scholes is very well liked passing-wise, and I like Scholes, I do, but I think Iniesta was the best passer of the football I've ever seen play football, hands down.
I disagree, yeah.
Fair play. So my next one, some of you might see coming, Lionel Messi, the greatest player ever to play football. I feel so strongly about that. I just think, I mean, I don't really need to talk about Messi because he's, talked about enough, but I just think being able to watch him, like when we were growing up, I think he made his debut in like 2000 and early 2000s. Well, maybe not early 2000s, I don't know, whenever. I just think he's just unbelievable. It's like growing up watching football, everyone was good, and then he just took everything to the next level. I know kind of the old Ronaldo, Messi, it doesn't really matter. I think we're so privileged to have those two players and watch them from like young to in their prime and kind of now. But Messi, I just used to love watching Messi. He was just unbelievable. I mean, he is unbelievable. Like I say about Barcelona, Barcelona were a good team that had Messi. Now they're a good team because they have Messi. I just think Messi is just unbelievable to watch. He's just, I mean, whether you prefer Ronaldo or not is kind of irrelevant. I think everyone can agree Messi is unbelievable. Like the stuff he can do with the football. He's the best dribbler of the football, 100%, and he's so good at it. Probably the best left-footed player ever. I think he's still strong as well. Like, I don't get it. He's like 5'6", and because he's got a low centre of gravity, you see him nick the ball off players, and he's still strong. He's so good at dribbling. He's quick. He's like, if Barcelona were to design a perfect player, it'd be him. And I just think he's the reason that I love Spanish, like La Liga, and maybe why I follow other teams, and especially why I like players like that. I just think he's unbelievable, and like, what a player.
Would you say that who was better in their prime, Messi, or arguably a player he learnt a great deal from, Ronaldinho?
It's difficult to say really, because they kind of played in different positions, didn't they? Ronaldinho as a cam kind of played on the left, whereas Messi's always been forward or on the right. I don't know. I'd say no, it's Messi. I can't even, because Messi, everyone's saying, Ronaldinho was at his peak when he was at Barca. Messi has been in a peak for the last 10 years. He's got like 50 goals in like however many of the last season. He scored like 90 goals or whatever it was in a year. He won 6 trophies in a season with Barcelona, or in a year, wherever it was. Like, he just hasn't had a normal prime or a normal peak. He's had his prime for like the last 10 years. No other player in history can say that. It's been unbelievable. So yeah, Ronaldinho though, what a player he was. I remember when he chipped David Seaman. Not that I watched it live, but you just remember that goal and you just think the arrogance to chip David Seaman from like 40 yards out is unbelievable. But yeah, no, Messi, unbelievable. I'm glad you all agree with that. I thought someone was going to pipe up. My last one is the person that when I was watching like Spain in like 2010 or whatever, they made me love football. But this man, this player, turned that love of football into an obsession and turned that like, oh, I like football, I love watching it, into like, football is the only sport for me. It's Sergio Aguero single-handedly for the Aguero. That for me is the greatest moment of football, and that for me turned football from a love to an obsession. Seeing like however many 70,000 people, 60 whatever, go mental and just invade the pitch, and Roberto Mancini just run in and jump in, and the commentator going mental. Like that for me is when I realised just how good football was. When you can see how much joy it brings people, and it makes everything else worthwhile. And I think that's definitely when football went from being a love to an obsession. When I knew football was just the best thing. Just when that happened, and just seeing everyone go mental, and all the drama and the tension that came down to it, and the context of it being between the Manchester teams, I just think Sergio Aguero singly in that moment just made me love football. I think the best moment in Premier League history. I've got some honourable mentions that I will say. Claudio Ranieri, who I know wasn't a footballer, but I think for him, I was sort of becoming disgruntled with football, because growing up, it'd always been Manchester United, and then Man City brought the league, and it was kind of that, is it going to be just buying the league now? And then he came along with that Leicester team, and just 5,000 to 1, just unbelievable. The greatest sporting achievement I think I've ever seen in my lifetime. And obviously Ibrahimovic as well, just because he's so arrogant. I just love watching him. He's a completely different type of striker that I just love him, and I love the way he plays football. And yeah, that's about it.
Can't not like Zlatan, can you?
Sorry, what was that?
Can't not like Zlatan.
Yeah, exactly. He's, apart from when he scored the winning goal against us in the EFL Cup final, then I didn't like him. But every other time. Would you remember when he scored that like 40-yard bicycle kick against England?
Insane. He's just such a player.
I just don't understand why he even did that. It just shouldn't have worked. But yeah, anyway.
Just quickly on somebody you mentioned, slightly off topic, we did mention them, so I'm going to bring it up. Roberto Mancini.
Yeah.
Obviously, won the league with City. Used to have grey hair. Now he's the manager of Italy. Have you noticed his grey hair is completely gone? As if we never knew he had it in the first place.
I didn't notice that.
Go look at Mancini now. He looks about 20 years younger, as if he's trying to hide something. But he was grey for. Trust me, he's done a thing and it's not worked.
I'm looking. Fair play.
Okay, so I only have one. They are, I guess I could have gone for somebody more recently, in like recent years, but like, this is the person in terms of growing up, took it to another level. And this is who I think is the greatest player of all time, Cristiano Ronaldo.
You're wrong.
I'm not wrong.
Anyone else expecting Lee Ho?
Well, this is what I mean. If I was to make up a four, I could have some silly names like that. Like, I love Lee Holmes, but he didn't make me fall in love with football. But Ronaldo did, especially when he was at Manchester United, when they were, as Godfrey just alluded to, basically winning the league every season. I just think he was so good. He was in a great United team, that won the Champions League, won the league. I think he is the best player on the planet. He looks great as well, which works. He looks good. Scored insane goals. The one for me that stands out was the free kick against Portsmouth. Don't know if you remember that, David James in goal. It's something I tried to recreate in the garden, never successfully, but I didn't break any windows, so it's fine. I was gutted when he left Manchester United for Real Madrid. I never supported Manchester United, but I always wanted them to win because he was playing for them. And when he left, I lost that part of me that wanted United to win a league every season. Now I don't really care, obviously, because Southampton probably not going to do it. And as much as, Ronaldo's done a lot in a Portugal shirt, I know obviously they've won the Euros more recently. For me, the first World Cup that I watched was 2006 World Cup. And, okay, I hate him for it because he scored the winning penalty that knocked England out of that tournament. But the whole sort of pantomime villain that came with that, when Rooney got sent off, Ronaldo got a lot of the hate for that. And then he comes up and he scores the winning penalty and he, slides away to the crowd. For me, the one and only person to make me fall in love with football is Cristiano Ronaldo.
Fair play. He's not. I don't think he's the GOAT, but that's a conversation for another time.
I think it's difficult. I think it's difficult to compare him and Messi because they're so different. So I think half the people was going to say Ronaldo, half the people were going to say Messi, but he's up there.
We're just lucky we get to see both. We've lived in a generation where we can watch them both, and no matter who you think is the best, you can still watch both, and you can still take on board of how brilliant they both are.
And to be fair with Ronaldo, he was brilliant when he was at Manchester United. He then goes to Real Madrid for a world record fee and gets even better. And you look at I think he only won like maybe 2 leagues when he was at Real Madrid for quite a long time. Obviously Barcelona won the majority of that. But they won 3, 4 Champions Leagues. So, and now he's at Juventus winning trophies. So with Ronaldo, you can definitely say he's done it in different leagues in different countries. But yeah, he's the one that made me fall in love with football.
Fair play.
Nice. Mine goes in a sort of very different approach, but we'll start. Firstly, Marc-Andre ter Stegen. He's just awesome. He's an incredible goalkeeper. He's still fairly young. He's only 27 for a goalkeeper, which is quite young. I still remember that.
27?
For a goalkeeper, it is. This one's 40. He's still playing. He's made nearly 400 appearances, and again at 27, so he can double that. That save against Lewandowski, where it was just an instant save and then crawled it off the line in the Champions League, that was an awesome save. And for him, I think he just doesn't quite get in. He's shown as one of the best, but until he obviously Neuer's still number 1 for Germany, and he just hasn't had that record for Germany. He's not won the World Cup. He didn't go with them. I think he should potentially leave Barcelona in order to show how good he is somewhere else. Go somewhere.
Was he not part of our 2014 squad?
No, he didn't go.
Who were the
other
two keepers? Neuer, Wijndal, and
someone else. I can't remember.
Andres Schürrle in between the sticks, I reckon. That's what I'm going with.
So I've not really got a lot more to say, but I just think he's incredible. Watching him, he can only get better. One of the best goalkeepers in the world.
He's the best passer, I'd say. I think in terms of tiki-taka kind of play, I think Ederson has the best range of passing of any goalkeeper I've ever seen. But I think in terms of the way Barcelona play, what kind of maybe not so much now, kind of at the end of the Valverde thing, maybe under their new one. But I think Enrique especially, he was almost not a midfielder, but he push up and he'd be an outlet for the defence as well. He's really, really good passer, I'll say that. He definitely suits Barcelona.
I think that all came from Neuer, the way Neuer changed goalkeeping into being able to be as good with your feet as you are with your hands. And obviously, I imagine being around him in, German squads and things like that, you're going to learn a lot from Neuer. You're only young when you're, seeing him. That change, obviously, he's embraced that and he is as good with his feet as he's with his hands.
Yeah, ter Stegen is underrated for sure. Do you think why do you think he needs to leave Barcelona? Do you not think if he's going to get the best, he should stay at Barcelona?
I just think he needs a different challenge. It's like Oblak, Atletico. Oblak does not get enough credit, and he is, within that top 5 best goalkeeper in the world. But because he plays with a team that gets so many clean sheets, that you could put Mannone, Atletico Madrid, they're still going to get clean sheets because of their defence. okay, he still makes incredible saves and he's still an incredible goalkeeper, but you need someone else to show that, you know, when someone else makes a mistake, he's that one that steps up still. And I think, you know, if he went to a Premier League club, if he went to Bayern and took over from Neuer, you would see him more. You would get more credit. That's not a bad club to be at, obviously, but I feel like, you know, maybe somewhere else to go, which looking at recent news may happen because they can't agree on a contract.
Do you think that Atletico Madrid, though, the way they're set up and they're quite a self-sufficient club, do you think that they will ever let him go? Because I think right now he'd probably cost like 60 million. Do you think maybe teams will be priced out because he's not as highly rated? Like, do you think maybe, you know, Atletico would realistically ask for like 60, 70, 80 million? Do you think because he doesn't have that reputation as one of the best, do you think they'd get that? Do you think he'll ever go?
Yeah, I think he would. I think, you know, if you're a club looking for a top goalkeeper, you can't walk past Oblak without, you know, being interested. If you know your football and you look around, and if a club is looking for a goalkeeper, you're going to look for Oblak. Whether you'll get him or not, again, it's a different option because whether he wants to leave, I know, like, you know, he's had offers and he's not left, so I don't know the reason behind that, but he definitely should. People should be looking at him.
Fair play, yeah. He is good, to be fair. Who's your next one?
It is, and again, a player, but I'm not really looking at his playing career. I'm more looking at his management career. Gareth Southgate. I think basically for obvious reason, that World Cup, you know, was a completely different sort of view of football for me. You know, going out to Oceania, watching it, like scoring a goal, everyone chucking their beer, like it's just a completely different atmosphere. You felt like you were at the game, even though you were watching it on TV. You know, I've never felt like that in a football match before. And to go, as it was, watching it on holiday, watching the penalty shootout, which, you know, amazingly we won. The games we played, and I still, like, I was one that did say that you're not going to be the right man for the job when he came in, and I probably still agree with that. But you can't disagree with what we've done and how good we were in that World Cup, you know. And potentially, you know, it's annoyingly we didn't go through to the final, and, you know, who knows what happens.
Yeah, it's a fair point actually about Southgate. He definitely made me fall in love with England again.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I hated watching England up to that point. I think under Hodgson we were shocking, and I think, to be fair, I think even in the World Cup we didn't really play that well. Like, okay, we did the job, but I think when we lost the most games out of any team. I think, well, the joint most. We lost 3 games in the World Cup, which is a lot. I don't think we played great, but I think that penalty shootout definitely papered over some cracks. But I think, yeah, definitely it made me want to watch England again rather than it being a chore, which it definitely was.
You just felt a nation unite watching that. Like, you know, you had people that aren't really interested in football coming and watching football and cheering when we score. And it was just an awesome time. You know, the weather was great. It was just an awesome time for football and how we were.
It's not worked. Yeah, go on. Who's your next one?
My next would be the absolutely best goalkeeper ever in the world, in my mind, Artur Boruc. I've got to mention him. You know, he was the one that made me fall in love with football the absolute most, because I wasn't the most football inclined playing or watching, really. And when he came in at Southampton, obviously we had Poch. It was just different. There was something about him I really liked. Like, okay, you know, he conceded that goal against Stoke, but he didn't hide by it. You know, he came out, he did a press conference. You know, he spoke to the press. Like, I liked that. He didn't hide. He was just up front. He's like, yeah, you know, it happened. Like, there was something about him I liked, like the way he was, like the videos around the training ground, bits like that, and on like the pre-season where they had to like snap a bow in between their neck.
Walk on hot coals.
Yeah, I don't know if any of you have seen that, but like they did that as like a pre-season tour thing. And yeah, like, I don't know, there was just something about him I really liked. His penalty save technique is something I've obviously brought to goalkeeper myself. He's the 5th best penalty save rate as a goalkeeper in the Premier League of all time. top of any goalkeeper currently in the Premier League. 35% of penalties saved, faced he saved, including that awesome one against Latan, which I really loved. We say goalkeepers are strange, and he is the epiphany of that. Like I just love him, and he made me want to play football and enjoy goalkeeping.
Fair play. He's still playing when he's, what was he, like 38, 39?
Technically, yeah.
Yeah.
Playing,
Yeah,
but
fair play. It's impressive. Like, he must be doing enough though to warrant a new contract.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Which is impressive.
Yeah.
He came in last season, didn't he? He didn't start, but he ended up finishing the second half of the season for Bournemouth.
Yeah.
It's just a shame him and Koeman didn't get on, which sort of brings me to my next person, in Ronald Koeman again. Less is his playing career, more of his management career at Saints.
But he was a great player.
He was an awesome
He was
player.
one of the best centre-backs of all time, or
I
midfielder.
didn't watch him personally, but yeah, absolutely, his scoring record as well was insane.
Scoring
Koeman came in. Yeah, so Koeman came in the 14-15 season, stayed for 2, and it was probably one of our best 2 seasons ever. Best 2 seasons I've watched. The players he brought in, Pella, Tadic, Mane, they were all just to name a few. Like that team was probably one of the best teams we've had as the club. Was an awesome time to be a part of it. Highest place finished 7th and 6th. Highest point total. Europa League 2 consecutive seasons. Didn't do well the first one, I admit, but we were a part of it. We got there.
3 points in the Champions League.
3 points. I know if we had Boruc, would have been top 4. He wasn't part of the the Europa League second season when Puel came in, but that was an awesome time as well that we had. Going and watching games, very different, playing Inter Milan, beating them at home. He wasn't part of it, but he was that season that brought us the Europa League to St Mary's. It's something I think we all really enjoyed. Just like playing like the teams in the top 6, which we actually went after. We didn't sit back. We didn't lose. Okay, we still lost, but we had games where we actually beat the top 6. Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, that Liverpool game, St Mary's.
We did beat Chelsea, but I'm pretty sure that was the season they had an absolute shocker, wasn't it?
Yes, the season we finished above them, but
we beat Manchester United at Old Trafford both seasons.
We did.
Charlie Austin scored, didn't he?
Charlie Austin the first
the year before.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think there was definitely a feel-good factor around the club, wasn't there, for sure, at that time. It was an exciting time to be a fan, and I think we had all endured difficult times, to say the least, as Saints fans. But yeah, that was definitely a feel-good factor around the club, for sure.
And it was hard to top Poch, really. Like, he was someone that...
Poch didn't really... See, people say this. I don't think Poch did great. Like, he was a good manager, but where did we finish under him?
No, we were 8th, weren't we?
When he took over from Atkins, we finished 14th. We managed like half the season, and in his full season, we finished 8th. Yeah.
Like, I just think, okay, yeah, admitted he did a good job, but I think Koeman was a far better manager.
St Mary's was a fortress under both managers.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
for a while.
I have to say that's the one thing about Koeman, and I suppose our home form since Koeman's left has been diabolical, probably one of the worst in the league. I mean, we've been shocking at home in recent years. I definitely miss going into a game and thinking I remember when Koeman, especially when we finished 6th, it was definitely a case of like anyone that came to St Mary's, it was a case of like, we can take 3 points off them. We will win. And that's definitely something that's gone.
You couldn't wait to go to a match, could you? 3 o'clock on Saturday, you're like, yeah, thank God for that. I can't wait to go and watch them play.
Yeah, exactly. We've definitely lost that in recent years. Hopefully we'll get that back with Hasenhüttl, but who knows?
But that's, again, the thing. Like, it's that Hasenhüttl's fault, but we haven't got the team that we had under Koeman. If we had that team, I'm thinking Hasenhüttl does better. Personally, like, I'm a bigger fan of Hasenhüttl than I am of any of the managers we've had.
It was definitely a better team. I don't think you can argue that. But I think at the same time, I think kind of maybe this is a story for another podcast, but I think Hassan Hootel's team is really good on paper. I think we should not be flirting with relegation, the team we have. We've got proven Premier League scorers. Defensively, we have good defenders, other than Vestergaard, who's shocking. Midfield wise, I think we've got a really good midfield. I think we've got our top half midfield. I think that the issue is with our team is there's just no cohesion between them now. I think it felt like under Koeman, everyone was pulling in the same direction and everyone was pushing towards something bigger and better. Whereas I think under Hasenhüttl, they feel like under Koeman, it felt like we were a team. And even though there was weak links in that team, everyone complemented each other. Whereas under Hasenhüttl, we have 11 individuals rather than a team. That's how I see it anyway.
Yeah, I agree. Like, you know, our defence isn't bad. It's not brilliant, but it's not bad. Like, you know, considering who we had under Koeman.
Yeah,
quite different. Yeah, you know, even Alderweireld, like, it's, either way, we didn't get Alderweireld, we brought Van Dijk. It's not a bad replacement, is it? And now we've got, we had Vestergaard, Jack Stevens. In fairness, tried. It's just, it's that next 11 that you got. When Yoshida is your third choice centre back, when Koeman's there, and then an ex-manager comes in and he's your first choice centre back, that's, you haven't really replaced who you've got rid of.
Yeah, it's a fair point actually. I think as well, when Koeman left, the managers we brought in didn't have the same ethos and the same style of play, which doesn't mean they're bad managers at all. I think individually, the managers have been okay, other than Hughes, who's been absolutely shocking. But I think he was shocking. I think
he saved us, yeah.
I'm of the belief a lot of managers could have gone in there. Our team was too good to go down. I think, I think most managers would have. But anyway, you can't ignore what happened in the second season when he won like one game out of 4. But anyway, it's off topic. But I think the players they brought in, I think basically when Hasenhüttl gets a few transfer windows will be good. But we're completely off topic, really, because we're supposed to be talking about players.
We did talk about Koeman. But no, Koeman was like a game that, like, he was a fan favourite as well. He was having chanting around his name. Again, when people came to St Mary's, we played them. Like, we beat Arsenal 4-0. We beat that Liverpool that when we were shocking in the first half when we went 2-0 down, and came back 1-3-2. He's running up the sideline. Like, it's terrific to watch. When you see a manager so animated as well, it was a game that people enjoyed going to. I loved going to a game when it was a Koeman, because you're like, I'm going to watch some football. We might not win, but we'll at least we'll give it an effort. And no matter who was there, we played them. And I feel, again, we have lost that a little bit, but under Koeman, I think that was good. And it was a bit of a sour relationship at the end. Who knows what happened with the board? Something dodgy went down as to why he left. But,
Yeah, it's a big regret, I think.
Again, you didn't do it at Everton. Did he overachieve? Well, we had, again, that season, Chelsea were awful. Back in normal, with us a one place lower we are, because they'd have been up in the top 6 at least.
And Liverpool weren't great that season, I think.
That's true. Man U weren't brilliant.
We definitely overachieved.
Finished there, I think, whereas we were good, and I don't think we did overachieve. I think we deserved to finish, 6th.
The reason why I think we overachieved is because I think it gave fans a sense of entitlement, which I think was the biggest problem, I think. Because then when you don't finish 6th, it leaves a sour taste in the mouth for the next season. So I think in that sense, maybe I don't necessarily think we overachieved as a club. I think we more overachieved that kind of in just that time. I think because we overachieved that season, people expected the same thing again. And that team probably wasn't good enough to regularly get top 6, I don't think. It was a good team, don't get me wrong, and they played good football. But I think you look back on it, would that team get top 6 now? Probably not.
I don't think it gave fans a sense of entitlement in terms of finishing 6th. I think when you compare Koeman, Pochettino to Puel,